It is 6 o'clock, and I'll call our meeting to order. We're going to begin with the Pledge of Allegiance, and let's welcome our pledge leaders into the room. Welcome. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, welcome our friends from Neiman Elementary. Do you mind coming around and introducing yourselves to us? And maybe tell us what either your favorite class is or your favorite thing for lunch. And your name.
Your name.
Olivia.
And your favorite subject.
Reading.
My name is Cohen, and my favorite subject is math.
My name is Gabriel Molina, and my favorite subject is also math.
My name is Ian Bailey, and I like math.
My name's Sahaya, and I like ELA.
My name's Harley Lemon, and my favorite subject is math.
My name is Cole Canster, and my favorite subject is math.
My name is Aaliyah Bodenhammer, and my favorite subject is math too.
I'm Annie Kwan, and I'm the school social worker at Neiman, and my favorite subject is social emotional learning.
My name is Emily Carter. I am the art teacher at Neiman, so my favorite subject is art.
Well, thank you all for being here. All right, we have, just wanted to mention, we have Mr. Stratton with us here by phone, and we will begin with adoption of the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve?
So move, Goodburn.
All right, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. We have a couple of minutes for approval, items 1.4 to 1.8. If there are not any changes, I seek a motion to approve all the minutes in one motion. Thank you. Second?
Second, Hembry.
All right, all in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carries 6-0. Dr. Hubbard, come to you for our communication, the superintendent's report, item 2.1.
Absolutely. I am so excited to share that we have two educators who will be considered for the 2025 Kansas Teacher of the Year. Annie Hassan, Arabic teacher at Shawnee Mission South, and Amber Pagan, pre-K teacher at Neiman. And I was able to join our team as we surprised them this past week. So much fun. And Dr. Dennis did tell me that it might be a one-time shot that we have Hassan and Pagan that rhyme in the same year. So I thought that was kind of fun. They're both going to be honored as part of the Kansas Teacher of the Year program. And I want to also mention that we were so fortunate to receive many nominations from across the district for recognition for Teacher of the Year. So everyone who was nominated represents the best among the best. And we want to congratulate all the nominees, and we are excited for these two amazing teachers to represent Shawnee Mission. So congratulations to both Annie and Amber. We have such a strong team, and we're looking forward to an upcoming event for anyone looking to become a teacher in Shawnee Mission. Teacher interview night will be held from 5 to 8 p.m. on November the 9th. We will include a link in the recap for a sign-up form. Interview locations will be communicated to individuals after the interview is scheduled. We invite everyone to share this opportunity with those who may be interested. It will provide a chance to learn more about Shawnee Mission and the many benefits that we offer. We just released our newest episode of Shawnee Mission, Mic'd Up. This new podcast episode highlights a topic we are especially proud of in Shawnee Mission, inclusive play. We talk about progress on district playgrounds and efforts made in our classrooms to make sure every one of our students gets to learn and play with their peers. We are very glad to have Sherry Dumoulin, Chief of Special Education, join us to talk about these efforts across Shawnee Mission. We'll include a link in the recap so you can subscribe or download wherever you get your podcast. We're looking forward to kicking off Cycle 2 of our strategic plan, which will guide us from 2024 to 2029. This evening in the consent agenda is a request not to exceed $32,900 for the Cambrian Group to provide consultation, facilitation support, and training services related to the strategic planning process. And this is the same group that helps support our Cycle 1. As I shared in August, we'll be formally kicking off the strategic planning Cycle 2 process in December with an informational video. Broad community input and engagement is essential to developing our strategic plan. In January, we will be accepting applications for individuals who are interested in serving on the steering committee, and I look forward to bringing back more information in December. Also, later in the consent agenda, the board will consider a revised budget for the construction of new Tomahawk Elementary School. As expected, bids have come in over our initial projections, but they are in line with current market conditions. For those who are interested, a more detailed discussion of Tomahawk budget took place at the last Finance and Facilities meeting, and a link will be provided in the recap to that last meeting that we had. And now for one of my favorite parts of our meeting always, I'm glad to welcome Dave Ewers, principal at Shawnee Mission North, to the podium to present our first All-Star of the evening.
Thank you, Dr. Hubbard. First of all, I'm pretty impressed with whoever's teaching math at Neiman Elementary, with that many kids saying that math is their favorite subject. As the principal at Shawnee Mission North, I'm pretty excited about that. But why we're here tonight is one of our teachers, Anna Cook. She has been in Shawnee Mission. She's entering her 9th year. She's been at Shawnee Mission North all 9 of those years. 2 of those years, we also shared her with some of our elementary feeder schools. In the last 7 years, she's been at Hawker Grove Middle School. So she has had a hand in orchestra throughout our entire feeder pattern. Ms. Cook is an incredible educator. Her passion for music and her craft is only surpassed by her passion for students. You can see it every day when you watch her in the classroom, when you see her in a concert. She's always smiling. She's always seems to be thoroughly excited to be working with kids. But you don't want to take my word for it. I have a student here, Jack Dunker, who's going to say a few words about her himself.
All right. Ms. Cook is one of the most influential adults I've had in my life, especially since I've started middle school and high school. I mean, she convinced me to join orchestra in 4th grade, and now she's teaching me excerpts from like some of the most renowned composers in the world, stuff that a lot of kids in high school just aren't getting to do. She set an example to me that I hope to someday live up to as a student, musician, and most importantly as a man. And I can't think of a more deserving teacher to earn this award, and it makes me proud to be a member of the Shawnee Mission North Orchestra.
So without further ado, we'll start the video. Anna Cook is an all-star. Kids they just gravitate to her. They appreciate her praise. They appreciate her high standards.
She's the best teacher I've ever had. Honestly, I love coming to class every day and working with her.
She's constantly getting better and constantly working on that craft. And then that translates to what she's able to do in the classroom.
Ready, and...
There's always a smile on her face. You can tell that she is genuinely happy doing what she's doing. She's having a great time, and the kids feed off of that energy as well, and they reciprocate it.
Her standards are high. I mean, they really are. She pushes the kids. She expects greatness. She expects them to achieve and to do really, really good work, but she understands, and she does a wonderful job of not making it all on them, and is right there with them the whole way.
Did that feel better? I think so too.
The class she teaches is filled with passionate people, and she's just as passionate about it. She helped build my passion for music, and without her, I don't think I'd be knowing what I'm doing with my life.
She's really good at pushing you, getting you out of your comfortable zone, and improve as musicians. She's very good at helping out individually.
When she pushes us to be the best, it's honestly just the love for us that she has. And she's just a lovable person, honestly, and is always very open.
She's driven by that empathy, and it's about a much bigger picture for them, in life.
Congratulations, Miss Cook. You really are awesome. Thank you for all you do. Good job.
Congratulations, Miss Cook. You definitely earned this. You're an amazing teacher.
Congrats, Anna. We're all proud of you. You deserve it. Great job.
Congratulations, Miss Cook. We all love you, and you are the best teacher.
Anna, congratulations on this well-deserved recognition. You are an outstanding teacher and asset to our building, and we're so very fortunate to have you in the Shawnee Mission North family.
Thank you so much for this honor. It is such a surprise, and I am truly grateful and humbled. I often tell anyone who will listen, I have the best job. It is such a privilege to see my students develop confidence in themselves and in their classmates through music. They amaze me daily, whether it's persevering to learn a specific piece or learning to balance their studies, extracurriculars, and outside commitments. As much as they have grown in music over the years, my students have taught me a great deal in turn. Our students are really incredible people, and I will treasure my years with them. Running a 6A middle and high school orchestra program is consuming, but truly worth every second. I'd like to thank my family for those understanding of those commitments, weeknights, and weekends spent at the school, and their genuine excitement with me for my students and their successes. I'd like to thank all of my building administrators, specifically Mr. David Ewers of Shawnee Mission North and Dr. Chris Case of Hawker Grove. Their endless support of our students and program direction, I sincerely thank them for the encouragement of us and our students. Closely behind, I'd like to recognize the parents and the community of North for their presence and involvement in our growing program. I'd like to thank Bill Thomas, district leadership, and the board for your continued support. You recognize how vital music programs and arts education are to our students' success. Your investments, encouragement combined with that of our families have made an incredible impact on North area students, and we are building amazing momentum for spring performances as the Shawnee Mission North Orchestra will perform at the Kaufman Performing Arts Center and as our program travels to Italy. We are truly blessed to have a strong district support, and we are excited to see what our kids can achieve in our future. Thank you.
Congratulations. And now I welcome Matt Engler, principal at Trail Ridge Middle School, to the podium to present our second All-Star.
Thank you, Dr. Hubbard and the board for allowing me to be here today. I have the honor of introducing Mark Hansen. Mark was a para at Trail Ridge and is currently a para at Shawnee Mission East High School. When you witness the way Mark impacts students and staff each and every day, it is easy to see why he is a true Shawnee Mission All-Star. Mark goes above and beyond to help students and staff. He has a true passion for working with kids and watching them grow. He is knowledgeable, passionate, and committed to doing whatever is necessary to have a positive impact on our students. In addition to all of these qualities, what stands out the most to me is the integrity at which Mark carries himself. Mark is loyal, honest, hardworking, and dedicated. He is highly respected amongst all of his peers, and he's constantly looking for ways to continue to grow and get better. Mark and I have had multiple conversations over the last 4 years about what his next career moves may include. All of those conversations centered around working with and impacting students. Eventually, Mark took the leap into education and is finalizing his high school teaching degree. And over the past few months, it was obvious that as much as we loved having him at Trail Ridge, professionally, he needed to experience the high school level to help prepare him for his own classroom. We were devastated and proud at the same time. One of my favorite things about my job is walking into a classroom and watching our teachers work with students. There are times when you see a teacher teaching and you're overcome with the sense that they are doing exactly what they were born to do. When you watch Mark within the classroom, it is abundantly clear he is meant to be a teacher. So congratulations, Mark, and hopefully you enjoy this short video that we have prepared that helps highlight how you impact our students every day.
One of my favorite things about being an administrator is every now and then, as you work with those professionals, you can just see this is somebody that is truly meant to be in the classroom. When I started here 4 years ago, Mr. Hansen was a para here and has been a para, I believe, the last 5 years, and has done a tremendous job building connections with kids.
He was my favorite teacher. If we needed help, he would basically have like 10 or more arms. He would be over there, and move around the room trying to help us.
And I think that's the key word that really, in my opinion, makes him such a great role model. He's just very adaptable. Nothing is ever too much or beyond his capabilities.
In his next phase of his career, he has now transitioned to Shawnee Mission East, and our students here were very proud that he was transitioning to Shawnee Mission East, but also miss him dearly, and so do our staff.
I was one of the people that encouraged him to continue on, and he's got an English literature major. I always call him the professor. I encouraged him to go on and be in education. He needs to be there.
I'm heartbroken. I was one of the people who thought, chase your dreams, keep going after this. I didn't want him to go, but I knew it was best for him to go. The kids were so sad to hear of him leaving. They were making him cards and giving him well wishes, giving him small gifts and tokens because he's part of our family.
He's thoughtful, he's kind, and at all, he's a good soul, he's a good person.
I mean, at Trail Ridge, we've got a ton, and a great staff, a ton of teachers that have awesome impacts. But it's been a humbling and an honor to be working with Mark, to see the growth that he's made, and to start thinking about what it's going to look like in the future when he has his own classroom. There are going to be a lot of future kids that are going to be very fortunate to have him as a teacher.
Wow, thank you so. Okay. Wow, gosh, guys, that's very humbling. All right. When I changed from my career and I met the previous administration at Trail Ridge, they told me they need me in the classroom. And so I made a big change in my life, and my family has been along for this ride, and it's been very moving. You can see these kids. Whew. Wow. When you get to the end of a school year, you are saying goodbye to these kids. They're moving on to high school, and they say, "Can you come to high school with me?" And I'm like, "No, I've got to stay here. I've got new kids coming in next year." But I have made this change, and many thanks, Principal Engler. Like you said, in all of our conversations, you've always talked about my leadership and what am I going to do to take that to the next level. And Principal Pearies, thank you so much for bringing me on board. I'm a Lancer. Thank you for bringing me home.
Got it, brother.
This is really a big deal to me. It's a great honor. Thank you so much. I love working with these students. I love working with these teachers because the teachers at Trail Ridge, they've mentored me. They've lifted me up. I always say they're putting wind in my sails, and I know they didn't really want me to sail away, but like Principal Engler said, I'm keeping you in the district, buddy. So that's important, and this has been a thrill. It's a thrill working with these great teachers, these great students, and I look forward to everything that's down the line. Thank you so much, Shawnee.
Thank you. Mr. Engler, I want to applaud your Team 512 spirit in sharing with Shawnee Mission East, so thank you for that. Mr. Hansen, Ms. Cook, thank you guys so much. I love watching the videos. They're awesome. And that concludes my superintendent report.
All
Thank you. Mr. Smith.
Good evening, Board. As I think you all know, in today's world, information travels incredibly quickly. However, on the off chance that perhaps somebody was having their screen-free week last week, or maybe was on vacation in Florida or Mexico, we wanted to present to you the 2024 Kansas Superintendent of the Year, Dr. Michelle Hubbard.
I feel like Mr. Hanson right now, a little choked up. Thank you, guys. I just want to say, this has been such a humbling week. I'm very honored to be here. I'm very honored to be part of Shawnee Mission. But this honor and award really goes to our team. We have such an amazing team. And I tell them this, but I could not do this job without you all as a supportive board, with our district administrator team, with our building administrative team, but most importantly, our teachers in the classroom and our support staff in the classroom that are doing the work, the hard lifting every single day. So this really is an award that goes to the entire 5-1 team in Shawnee Mission. So thank you all so much.
As you know, she will move on to the National Superintendent of the Year competition. And I remember when we were first talking about her state application, she kind of looked at me and she said, "I hate to lose." So I look forward to coming up a couple more times before we're done.
All right. Well, thank you, Super Hubbard, for that board report, and congratulations on behalf of the board. We are incredibly proud, and
thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right. I'm going to jump right to Ms. Owsley. Do you have any updates or next meeting dates for the Shawnee Mission Education Foundation?
I actually can't think of, our next meeting is coming up, but I can't think of the date off the top of my head for the Education Foundation. And then the KASB conference in Wichita is coming up on the weekend of the 11th. And so I think there's a few of us who are going to be in attendance to that, and we'll be voting to approve the policy there, or the policy platform there.
All right. Thank you. Ms. Goodburn, any updates on the Policy Review Committee?
We did have a meeting today, and you will see on your November 13th meeting agenda, we'll have some policy for first reads that evening.
All right. Mr. Stratton, do you want me to jump in? We have a Finance and Facilities Committee meeting this Thursday at 4 o'clock. Is there anything you want to add to Board of Directors or Finance and Facilities?
I'll just add that, as Ms. Owsley just said, that the KSB convention is the weekend of November 10th and 11th.
All right, great. Okay, I think that concludes our board reports for this evening. And that brings us to 2.3, our board financial report. Dr. Hubbard.
Yeah, so attached you'll see the board financial report from September of 2023 to include our SR3 expenditures. So if you all have any questions, we would be glad to answer those.
Those will be spent down this year, correct?
I think we have to have them encumbered, that's not the word, Russ, help me. Obligated by September of 2024 and actual expended by December of 2024.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? Okay, thank you very much. Okay, that brings us to discussion items. 3.1, our KISA update. Dr. Hubbard.
So yeah, as many of you know, we just finished a 5-year accreditation cycle, and we did our final visit in the spring. And then I believe in August, the state board approved final accreditation for the Shawnee Mission School District, which we're very proud of. I do want to recognize real quickly before I turn it over that the amazing work that went into that 5-year cycle, and the number of teachers and administrators and support staff that participated along in committee meetings and visitation from our visiting team, presentations. We even had students presenting at some of those cycle visits. So I just want to say a big thank you to all the people that supported this process throughout. And at this point, I'm going to turn it over real quickly to Dr. Stubblefield, who's going to kick off the presentation.
Thank you, Dr. Hubbard. Madam Board President, I just want to start by first acknowledging the hard work that has taken place over those last 5 years. Like Dr. Hubbard mentioned, a big part of our success through the KISA process was the high level of collaboration among the KISA district leadership team that was led by Kim Barney, and the communication between our district and the outside visiting team. Throughout this process, we were able to share our story about the Shawnee Mission School District and gain valuable feedback from the outside visiting team. We're happy to present this latest KISA update with our newest teammate, Dr. Anderson, Dr. Matt Anderson. He has taken the KISA baton from Kim Barney and is ready to lead us through KISA 2.0. So with that, I'll hand it over to Dr. Anderson and Dr. Dennis. This is his first board presentation update. Take it easy on him. You don't have to take it easy on Dr. Dennis, though. It's all yours.
Thank you. Good evening, Board. Board President Sinclair, Vice President Owsley. I am excited to be here with you this evening to provide you with a brief update on the KISA accreditation process. I just joined the team July 1st, so I'm going into 3.5 months with the district, and I've enjoyed every day so far. So I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to be a part of such a great team, such great honors with our teachers, our students, our superintendent. So I'm very excited to be with you all through this journey that we call KISA accreditation. Tonight I am here with Dr. Dennis and Dr. Stubblefield to present you with a brief update on the KISA accreditation process. To start us off, I just want to take us to the line that says that we are here to ensure students construct their own foundation for success in life's endeavors through relevant, personalized learning experiences. All of that is done through our work around the objectives that we set with our district strategic plan. Each of these areas or objectives allows us to ensure that all students have academic, personal resilience, and interpersonal skills success, so that by the time they leave our district here in Shawnee Mission, they're ready for a global society. They're ready for college and career opportunities out there. A part of that process, ensuring that those objectives are met, is through our KISA accreditation process. Most of you are well aware of the definition of KISA, but KISA stands for Kansas Education Systems Accreditation. KSD requires that every district in the state of Kansas participate in the KISA accreditation process, which is a 5-year continuous growth cycle. As part of this continuous improvement cycle, we are provided with opportunities and accountability measures. The first of those measures is that we develop a written report that highlights the work over each year, annual work of our KISA accreditation cycle. Secondly, we provide an update to our outside visitation team on an annual basis, where they get to hear our story and then provide us with insight and feedback on how we're progressing as a system. Finally, we are able to provide the state as well as our stakeholders with data to show our progress for student outcomes, as well as the processes we're putting in place to ensure that every student is successful here in Shawnee Mission. So again, after the past 5 years, Shawnee Mission has engaged in KISA Cycle 1, which we'll call KISA 1.0. Later in the presentation, we'll discuss what we are going to be moving into with the second cycle of KISA, KISA 2.0. As mentioned, there are some accountability measures for us, again, and they are held to these components within the accreditation process. First, we're held accountable to ensuring that we're in compliance with state and federal laws and policies. Secondly, we're responsible for ensuring that we have results to show that our students are progressing and that they're meeting the performance measures set forth by the state. Finally, we also look for quality growth processes. What processes are we putting in place, the action plans, the goals that we're setting, and how are we monitoring the progress over that KISA cycle? So those are the things that we're held accountable to within this process. On the screen, you can see this is our 5-year timeline of what occurred over the last 5 years as it related to KISA. The first year is all about looking at our data and doing a needs assessment. This allows us to set goals, as you can see for year 2, where we set the goals and develop action plans. At the end of year 2, we begin the implementation, and we continue that implementation throughout years 3, 4, and 5. During that time, we monitor our progress and we revise as necessary. As you can see, this was actually a 6-year cycle because of COVID-19, where we did have a pause year in the year of 2020, 2021, which allowed us to continue to implement some of the processes and goals that we had set forth here in the district. Last year was our year 5 of the cycle, which is where we got to tell our year 5 story and tell about all the great things that occurred over that KISA 1.0 process. Next, we're moving into our second cycle of KISA, which is a learning year, and I'll discuss more of that here in just a few minutes. We did apply for accreditation at the end of last school year, and we'll let you know the results here in just a minute, which you're probably aware of anyway. Next, I'm going to hand it over to Dr. Darren Dennis, who will share a little bit more about the OVT visit that we had, as well as some of the key highlights of what occurred over those 5 years.
Thank you, Dr. Anderson, and welcome.
Thank
It's
you.
been a good 3.5 months.
It's been good.
All right. As you're well aware, the outside visiting team, or OVT, is the group that comes in to support us. They do that through coaching and mentoring. They're a sounding board, and they're a critical friend as we share our story. We present to them and present it to them on an annual basis. And as Dr. Stubblefield said, we had students involved in those presentations, we had administrators, we had teachers, we had representatives across the length and breadth of Shawnee Mission. So my role this evening really is to talk about KISA 1.0, in part because Matt wasn't here. But we're going to talk a little bit about where we started 5-6 years ago and how we ended up here tonight. So when the process began, the state had identified what they called the 5 R's: rigor, relevance, relationships, responsive culture, and results. Every district, every system is required to include the results focus. So we were going to, from the beginning, talk about our academic and college and career readiness and social emotional growth. But we were asked to choose 2 of the other R's to be our focus. We chose relationships and responsive culture, and we did that with a mind or a focus on making sure that we were aligned with our strategic plan. We were putting this process together and coming on board with the state at the same time that, or in very near proximity to the first round of the strategic plan. And so there was a conscious effort to make sure that what we did aligned with that process. So it was one process for the district and not 2 separate things. Dr. Anderson mentioned setting goals. We ended up with 4 goals, and they've evolved a little bit over time, but the 4 goals were in these areas. There were 2 around social emotional learning, one of those around personal resilience that we measured with the GRIT measure of Panorama. The SEL interpersonal skills goal we measured with self-management Panorama measure as well. And then there were 2 academic goals, one around college and career readiness. There were multiple measures we looked at here, including state assessments, MAP, ACT college readiness benchmarks, and that was really about, did we hit that high bar? The 4th goal was about growth, because even if you don't make the target, we still want to see you grow. And so, again, there were multiple measures, but the focus was, were students growing? There were 8 areas that are identified at the state level, what they called foundational structures. If you're familiar with the Rose capacities, this is where that piece fits in. I'm not going to go through all 8, but I do want to highlight a few things that were the focus of a lot of our work in the last cycle. One of those was the tiered framework. You may know that as RTI, or Response to Intervention. We put a lot of work into this area, and it has resulted in, among other things, our guidebook for student success, which provides the structure and the system for how we conduct response to intervention in Shawnee Mission. Diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging was also a major focus, and again, not only of the KISA process, but of our strategic plan. You've recently heard a report that went into a lot more detail about DEIB, so I'm not going to reiterate all of that, except to say that this was a focus and that it's an area where we have very positive feedback from our OVT. The final area I wanted to highlight in this section deals with basic skills. So the teams were complementary of our work in the curriculum field, our guidance, our documents, but they were also complementary of our work in professional development, and in particular highlighting things like the job-embedded nature of our professional learning and the new teacher or new team member academy. In addition to those 8 foundational structures, there were 5 outcomes that the state board identified, and they are here on the screen. I'm going to take a little more time to talk about each of these 5 and the work that was done. The first of those was kindergarten readiness. We had a lot of feedback in this area. They focused in particular on our Jump Start to Learning, and we're impressed with that. We also have focused on the Ages and Stages questionnaire and getting more and more participation from parents and families. In terms of social emotional learning, we have done a lot of work with the Cornerstone cadre. We've developed monthly themes. We've developed curriculum documents, and we're in the process now of a pilot of resources to support that curriculum. We will be coming back to you in a few months with a recommendation for a resource for social emotional learning. High school graduation was fairly stagnant over the past 5 years. It's an area that we obviously need to continue to focus upon, not only for graduation for the all student category, but subgroups, and identified some go up and some go down, and we need to make sure that we're putting the focus in the areas where we need to grow. We worked a lot on individual plans of study this last cycle. We started really with not much more than saying get on Zello and take some surveys and so on. And it really has evolved over the past 5 years with the support and help of our real-world learning counselors, which they've been a great asset in this work. And that work has continued. We're now working collaboratively with the high school and the middle schools to improve that experience and improve the outcomes for individual plans of study. The 5th area was post-secondary success. You are aware, I'm sure, of our work around real-world learning. That's where this fits in. On the screen you can see a definition of market value assets and how a student might achieve those. But that's been the focus of a lot of our work in this cycle. Okay, so we had our accreditation visit from the OVT, and they reviewed their work to the Accreditation Review Council, which is the state-level group responsible for making a recommendation to the State Board of Education. They identified several strengths from their visit, and these were reflected, again, not only in our OVT report, but also in the ARCS report to the State Board. They complemented our engagement with the level of engagement, but also the fidelity to the process and the commitment to doing an effective job with this work. They were very complimentary of the integration with our strategic plan, which we intended to. That was our purpose from the beginning. They were complimentary of our multiple data points. I mentioned in our goals we had multiple measures that we were looking at. They thought that was a good idea. They also were complimentary of our commitment to the PLC process, professional learning communities, and to the RTI, and then that whole real-world learning focus. They offered some, not areas for growth necessary, but some considerations. A lot of these are things we're doing, but they wanted to make sure that we kept our eye on the ball, including making sure that we're monitoring and responding to those changes in graduation rate, to dropouts, to attendance, and chronic absenteeism. These are important components in our wildly important goals this year, and will be a consideration as we look at our next round in the strategic plan. Our real-world learning focus and individual plans of study. Again, they were complimentary of it, but keep your eye on the ball. Continue ensuring that we're representative in the groups that we're working with and who are representing, who work with us in terms of stakeholder status. We should continue that focus on real-world learning, and we need to continue to plan for sustainability as we do in all of our work. So that work went to the ARC, and the ARC reviewed the material and came back with their highest recommendation, which was that we were assuredly addressing all components of the KISA process, which resulted recently in the State Board of Education approving that recommendation, and we are fully accredited as a school district.
Thank you, Dr. Dennis, for sharing some of the major highlights that happened over those 5 years. It's a testament to the hard work of all of the stakeholders involved. That hard work paid off, and we are fully accredited as a system, so congratulations to everyone here. Moving into the second KISA cycle, KSDE did reach out to districts across the state to get feedback, and as part of their feedback request, they did come up with some revisions to the process. And so I'm just going to take just a couple minutes to go through some of those revisions. So on the table in front of you, you can see that they're moving away from the outside visitation team and going to a peer review model where districts can work with like systems or like districts to have conversations around the work that they're doing, provide each other with feedback and guidance on their work. Another thing that they would like to move away from is moving away from a one-time visit from an OVT and having multiple opportunities for these like peers or peer review committees to have time to talk and meet. And help provide each other with that necessary feedback. In the last cycle, there were no check-ins with KSDE KISA team leads. They are moving to an opportunity for all districts to meet with a KSDE team lead based on their district. So we are a suburban district, so we'll meet with the suburban KSDE KISA lead team member. And then finally, if you are familiar, we had to write a report, a very long and lengthy report that had many redundancies. The state got a lot of feedback on that, and they are now moving to a non-narrative format, and we will be utilizing a repository to collect conclusive evidence that we're making progress towards the goals we set and that we are making progress for student achievement. To help the state try to get through some of these changes listed on the table, as well as give districts time to really think through their needs assessment, the state has established a learning year for all districts. And during that learning year, we're going to be working with our like system peer review team. Our partners in this peer review process are going to be our neighboring districts of Olathe and Blue Valley. And we are very excited to learn and grow with them as they provide us feedback on our areas of progress and growth and our processes, and as we provide them with that feedback as well. Later this week, myself and some team members from the system are going to be attending the Great Ideas Conference in Wichita, where KSDE will be providing districts with even more information around this KISA 2.0 cycle. This learning year is an opportune time for Shawnee Mission as we have just finished the first round of the KISA accreditation cycle, as well as we're starting to begin the process of looking at our strategic plan for that cycle too. So this is, as the ARC had stated, the OVT has stated, this is a great opportunity for us to continue to make those connections and strategically align both of those plans. And so we will be using the feedback from the OVT and the ARC as part of that process. One of the major changes that KSDE is proposing is a rolling accreditation process that would accredit districts on a yearly basis. And as part of that yearly basis, we would present our information to our peer review team, get the guidance and the feedback from those systems, and then meet with our KISA lead team. And they would determine if we are accredited for the next year. During that peer review team meeting, we'll discuss what you see on the screen, those 4 fundamentals, what structures we're putting in place to meet those 4 fundamentals, and then what are the outcomes as we've established those. And then finally, just on a note, please note that the State Board of Education has to approve all of these changes. KSDE just recently met with the State Board of Education in October. So what we're presenting to you tonight is the proposal, and it won't be approved until at the earliest December. So with that said, we have come to the conclusion of our presentation, and so we'll open it up for any questions you may have.
Thank you. I'm gonna jump in just with kind of a first big picture question. Thank you very much for all this information and for the work that went into the accreditation process and bringing that to, integrating that into a very meaningful way with the strategic plan. That was a lot of people and a lot of work. So I just wanted to recognize that first. Can you just speak big picture? What is the shift to an annual accreditation and this check-in piece that may be annual? I know this is new, and I don't even know if the state board has approved it yet, but are there any insights into that? Like how that might be different, or is that all just new territory and we'll learn as we go?
Yeah, I'll take this one. Oh, go ahead, Dr. Hubbard.
I was just going to say, I think it's new for all of us, and we're all learning pretty much every day. I personally really like the idea of like-sized districts versus having different people from different parts of the state that, in some cases, we have visiting team members that might not even really recognize the strengths and maybe even weaknesses of the system, where I think our neighbors in Blue Valley and Olathe, we have so many similarities. And I do think that we can learn from them. I think all of us have had conversations. I mean, we've had it at the superintendent level. I know Dr. Dennis has had it at the curriculum level. And I believe other people have had conversations with their peers in Blue Valley and Olathe. And I think we're all excited to be able to be that peer, not only get their review, but to be the reviewers for them as well. The annual, I don't know, have you guys heard any discussion around that? Why annual versus 5-year? Anyone?
Nothing very specific.
They didn't, when we met with them 2 weeks ago, and they did not provide any specifics on, why going to a rolling annual accreditation process. So we're just gonna go with that.
I think the nice thing about being paired time-wise with our strategic plan is, I do think the 5-year look will give us that, like Dr. Daggett, that's a word most people understand in the system, but the 5-year stake in the sand that we can see way out there, but then the annual gives us the opportunity to measure those annually, and as we're moving towards that 5-year end. So we kind of have the best of both worlds, maybe.
All right. Thank you. I'm going to look. Ms. Embry?
Yeah, I was, thank you. Welcome to Shawnee Mission.
Thank you.
I was going to just ask, we have on our consent agenda today some work around strategic planning consulting services. Is that for the 5-year that you're mentioning, Michelle?
It is, yes. So that cycle would actually start in August, and so technically with this process. But we would have an annual, but then we would also have that 5-year look as well.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. I was just I think part of where my brain is struggling is one of the things they really complimented Shawnee Mission on was how closely our strategic plan aligned with KISA, and with this learning year and a lot sort of still unknown about KISA, it seems like our strategic plan might actually move a little faster than KISA, which is maybe okay and kind of just what we're going to deal with, right?
Actually, I think we haven't really talked about this, but I feel like the annual will help move the strategic plan, just, in more smaller, like chunk it. It'll help chunk that strategic plan to get us to that 5 years. Maybe in a more systemic way, especially with COVID in the middle last time. I feel like this will give us a more systemic approach to the 5 years.
Yeah, maybe. I'm just thinking about what it means for that strategic plan process. If there's still so much unknown with KISA, and we do want them to sync up well, and that's been a big strength, how we kind of keep that iteration and alignment between the two when we actually have a lot firmed up around our strategic plan, more so than the KISA process is firmed.
I think the alignment's going to be really important.
I'm just putting it out there.
And
as a
helpful.
statement. Yeah, it's going to be a little tricky.
Yeah, I don't think we're not going to get away from KISA and strategic plan being in alignment. That's a goal, to make sure that those two things are synced.
Thank you.
I do apologize, Ms. Hembry. You are the vice president. I gave it to Ms. Ousley, so I apologize for that.
You're good.
I'm going to play my new card. So.
All right. Anyone, Mr. Stratton, do you have any questions?
All set, thank you.
Okay.
Thank
All
you.
right. Okay.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you both.
Thank you, guys.
Okay. All right, we have a couple items on our consent agenda. If there are no changes to consent, I need approval for items 4.1 through 6.2.
So move. Borkman. Second. Goodburn.
All right, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Our first action item, 7.01, approval of Shawnee Mission East Choir students travel to Italy, March 7 through 16, 2024. I'll sign up, and Dr. Hubbard?
So we have this on an action item, even though it's not technically district funds, we still thought it was important to have it as an action item just due to the cost of $352,000, but this is 52 students, and 25 MVP approved chaperones. And again, I just want to reiterate that no district funds, students will either use personal funds or raise the money through, what's the word I'm looking for? Fundraising, thank you, Joe. And this is for a trip to Italy, March 7th through the 16th of 2024.
All right, thank you. Any questions? We should probably get a motion first. And
So moved, Ousley.
thank you. Second?
Goodburn.
All right. I see no questions. All in favor say aye.
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 Nay? Opposed? All approved. That carries 6-0. Sorry, that was a little confusing there. Action item 7.02, approval of settlement agreement with Evergy regarding electric rates. Dr. Hubbard.
Yeah, so I'm recommending the approval of the settlement agreement with the Evergy Kansas Metro Group. They had sought a 1.9% electric rate increase. We actually, combined with Johnson County School Systems, hired an attorney to really just dispute this increase. And we, after advocating on the attorney, and we spent less than $20,000 for that advocacy on our part, we have settled at a 4 to 5% rate decrease. For the year of '23, just for an FYI, we spent a little over $7.5 million, and if we consumed the same amount of electricity in 2024 at this rate increase at 4.53%, we would save an estimated $342,000. So we have measures in place to reduce our consumption of electricity. You know, we never can control our winters, but so far we've been really lucky. And the rate decrease in energy savings measures, that we're on target to experience an overall reduction in electricity cost.
All right. Do I have a motion?
So moved, Ousley.
All right, second?
Goodburn.
Okay, any questions? Or, I mean, that's a 300,000+ savings that goes right back into the operational budget. Thank you to all
Absolutely.
of you.
Do you think
Move forward
that
with
now
that.
that we have some lead schools, certified schools, that's helped?
So I can't answer that right now, but I will tell you that I just want to remind everybody that we do have new lead schools, but our previous Russ, help me here if I say something incorrect, but I believe our previous 6 builds prior to these 5, while they don't have LEED certification, they were built to LEED qualifications. And so we don't know the answer to that yet. They'll all have to be commissioned, correct? So we could be a couple years out to really know that. But I do believe that we have a lot of things in place district-wide on energy consumption, including a large LED light replacement, a cycle, an energy manager who manages all of our systems and make sure we're on schedule so we don't have systems running when they shouldn't be running, and set points for when we're occupied and when we're not occupied, and lots of other just interventions like that to help with energy management.
Great, thank you. Fantastic. All right, should we go ahead and vote? All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. All right, our last action item, 7.3, wireless access points, round 2, refresh and host server refresh.
Yeah, so I'm just approving the approval of servers, wireless access points, and all the supporting software for a total of $546,280, and this is a budgeted capital expenditure under the district's technology infrastructure refresh plan.
All right, do I have a motion to approve?
So move, Goodburn.
Second?
Second, Owsley.
All right, any questions? All right, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. All right, any board comments?
Please vote.
Please vote.
Yes, Election Day is November 7th, but early voting has started, so get out there and exercise your right to vote.
There's lots of information out there. You can be a very informed voter as well. VotesJoeCo.org. Yeah.
I was just going to take another minute to congratulate Dr. Hubbard on being named Kansas Superintendent of the Year. And Michelle, I've now heard you accept this twice, and I've heard you be very humble and gracious to your team twice. But I want to make sure you get the props you deserve because you are so good at sharing with all of us who are part of your team. But I want to just say how easy and fun it is to be part of your team. I have not been shy about saying that I very closely did not run for the school board again, but it has been your leadership and your ability to foster sort of transparency and trust within our team and within this broader team, and your just eye on the prize of doing what's right for kids and always putting that at the center of every conversation that has made me want to be part of your team. And I think there's probably a lot of people in this room who are happy to see you get this honor because while you're gracious to acknowledge everyone else, your team is a team people want to be on. So thank you for being you.
Thank you.
All right. Okay. All right, I believe that concludes our meeting. So our meeting is adjourned and we'll see you again November 13th. Thanks, everybody.